So we're going to do perimeter and area. I've drawn a rectangle here and I've written down the dimensions where it is 4 high and it's 7 wide. Okay, so when I find the perimeter, we're going to write this word down, perimeter. Well, I can break the word perimeter into two pieces where I can say, well, my part peri right here, well, peri, this means this means around. Peri means around, and that this part here where I have meter, well, meter is a measure of distance. So I can say, well, that is just a way to measure distance. And cleverly, perimeter means the measure, I'll write this in blue, the measure of the distance around. So when it's asked for the perimeter of a rectangle, it's the measure of the distance around the perimeter. So if I were a guy and I'm walking around this room that's a rectangle, and then I'm walking this way, and I'm walking on this side, right? It's the measure of my distance all the way around this perimeter. And when I walked this way, I walked 4. And then when I walked this way, I walked 7. And when I walked this way, I walked 4 again. And when I walked this way, I walked 7. So when I want to find the perimeter, I'm finding the measure of the distance around, and I would just add these things up. I'm going to just sort of combine them in a way that makes it easy for me. I'm going to say 4 plus 4 is 8, and 7 plus 7 is 14. And when I add those together, I get 22. Okay, so 22 units, whatever that is, around. So that's my perimeter, just the measure around. Area is how many are inside the box. So if I do this again, let's do it a different color. I don't know, let's choose purple. So I've got this box. Right, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then I'm going to go down again and go 1, 2, 3, 4, and then across, and then down. Okay, so here's my box. And I know that it's 7 wide and 4 deep. Well, when I'm finding the area, what I really want to know is how many of these boxes total are inside of this grid, right? And I could just count them out if I wanted to, but the quick way to do it is to find the area by multiplying the 7 times the 4, because it's 7 and and 7 and 7 and 7, so it's 7 4 times. And this would give me 28. And they are squares right inside this area, so they're units squared. So that's how I find my perimeter and my area. So I'm going to do this little squiggly line, right? This is my area. So we're looking at this so that we can talk about it in terms of algebra. Sometimes they give us some interesting things to think about when they give us images of our rectangles in algebra. So let's say they give me this rectangle, right? And they tell me that it's 7 on this side, but this side is 2x minus 8, whatever that is, some x value that I don't know. And I made it a little sloppy so it doesn't look like I'm really making the same size rectangle. We're just going to kind of color this stuff in. We don't know what the grid is on the inside, so let's just do this so we can't see what the inside of our grid would be. Like, we don't know what that is. So some distance across and some distance high. All right, well, if I want to find the perimeter, I'm going to add all the sides together. So I'm going to add, this is really 7 over here as well, and this is going to be the same on both sides. So I have 7, right? I would go this direction, and then I'd go this direction. So 7 plus 2x minus 8, and then I go this direction again, plus 7, and then this direction, plus 2x minus 8. All right. Well, if I'm going to do that, I need to combine like terms. Well, I'm going to use a little table to combine like terms, so here's how I'm going to combine like terms. Well, I've got two different kinds of terms here. I've got x terms and I have just number terms. So that kind of helps me a little bit keep track of these things, and then I can add them together. Well, I have 7 just numbers, so I'm going to put those here in this column. And I have 2 x's, so I'm going to say I have 2 of those x's. And then I have negative 8, so I'm going to put 8 over here. And I have 7, so I'll put 7 here. And then I have 2 x's again, and negative 8. So I can add these things in the columns together, and when I do, 2 and 2, well, that's 4. This is 4x. And then I can say, well, when I do this part right here and I add these together, well, that's going to give me negative 1. And I have negative 1, which is going to give me negative 2. So I have negative 2 here. And this is my answer for my perimeter. Okay, well, what if I use the same grid and I want to find my area? Well, my area. Well, my area is to measure the 2 dimensions that were given, or to multiply the 2 dimensions that were given. So they gave me this dimension of 2x minus 8, and they gave me this dimension of 7. So I'm going to take my 7 and my 2x minus 8, and I'm going to multiply them together. And when I'm doing algebra, when I multiply a polynomial, I have to use this distribution. So I'm going to distribute this 7 through that parenthesis group. So that's going to give me 14x, and 7 times 8, well, that's 56, so it's a negative 56. And that is my area.